Good morning, side friend. This is Mitty Man coming at you from Walker's Music. But yet, another word for the day. It's the Saturday morning edition. And we give God all the glory and praise and honor for life, health, and strength. We thank God for each and every one of you. Mitty Man just want to say this morning that we find it necessary, matter of fact, to get up and get out of here this morning. Matter of fact, we got some sub-zero degrees weather out here. It's not that cold though, but it's a little chilly outside. It's been down in the 20s and earlier. I think it's right around 30 degrees now, but nevertheless, due to calls, we got to go out and choir rehearsal this morning. Matter of fact, it should be again in another hour when it be in choir rehearsal. We got to go out and do what thus says the Lord, trying to get the choir ready for service on Sunday morning. And we have to do that regardless of how the weather is. Sometimes we have to go in the rain and in the snow and in the cold, but we go and we do all things for the glory of God, though, not for nothing else, but for the glory of God, because it's my duty to go out. Now, it might not be that many there, but nevertheless, that's not my problem. My job as a minister of music is for me to be there to see whoever comes and shows up. I do what I have to do. I want to tell y'all something. I've had to deal with so many different things, and I count it as a privilege to be able and be honored to go through some of the things that God put me through to teach me certain things and to make me grow up. To make me grow up. In other words, a lot of us need to grow up, and we got different things that we have to deal with. But matter of fact, Apostle Paul tells us in Corinthians. Matter of fact, I believe it's First Corinthians around the 6th chapter. I believe it is. He said about all things being lawful, but not all things are expedient or beneficial. In other words, it's lawful for me, and I'm at liberty to do whatever I please in Christ. Everything I'm not under any law, but everything is not really beneficial for me. In other words, we need to learn and understand that everything, just because you are allowed or you are not up under any condemnation now to do them, everything is not beneficial. Okay, I take for instance in some of my past habits. Some of my past habits that I've had that God delivered me and took away from me. I'm at liberty right now to do them things, but it wouldn't be beneficial to my health. It would be beneficial to my witness. So in other words, Paul said, I would be not led captive. I would not be on the bondage of any of those things like of such. So in other words, I tell people all the time, and matter of fact, be careful. Be careful how you judge a person because of the fact that you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You just see the surface, but you don't know what's going on inside. Be careful when you let other people tell you something about another. Before you be so quick to judge that person, remember there's two sides to every story. I've often wondered. I've often wondered. I said some of the things that I've been in. Had I listened to certain people, I would have been at odds with just about everybody I've ever encountered. If I had listened to the words that other people gave me about these individuals. And even now, I feel sort of disappointed about certain people that I have came in contact with in the past, and some of my peers in my college and high school buddies and acquaintances that I thought that was okay. And maybe they were okay for a season. Remember I told you people come in our lives for seasons. They don't all come to stay. But nevertheless, you count it as counted all joy when you fall into divers temptation. That's what I think is in the book of James, the letter of James, the epistle of James said, because the trying of your faith worketh patience. In other words, we are disappointed by certain people, but see, this is why I say we don't get yourself caught up in people, because people will let you down, and Mitty Man will let you down. You will let others down. That just because why? We are imperfect beings, and we're living in a cursed world. There's been a cursed world, people, ever since Adam sinned. So, what Milliman is saying is this: I always get both sides of the story, and then even then, you still cannot judge because you don't ever know what the situation was at that particular time to make a person do a certain thing. Nevertheless, there are some things that you weigh out. I got my way of weighing things out. You have your way of weighing things out. But this is the way I am. And I know if everybody would just that ever been in contact with me all from my high school days all the way up until now, I was always had the reputation that if I had done anything, if I said something or did something, I would always try to give the person that was in question, I would try to give them an explanation. Now, either verbally or I go to them or whatnot. But now the days and time come, in other words, well, we got all this technology. And like I said, this social media is a good thing. You can do a lot with social media very quickly. You can get in contact with a lot of people. This is why I tell people that you cannot tell me that you don't get certain things. A matter of fact, I got a cell phone, and I got my cell phone, and I carry it with me. And matter of fact, even if I got that cell phone off, if you call me and you leave a message on my service, I'm gonna get that. As soon as I turn that phone on, I'm gonna get that message. We got email. In other words, we didn't have this here about 30 years ago. We didn't even have that. People didn't know what email was on a certain level. And but now you can email people, and anywhere in the world, if they got access to a computer and the internet, they can get that email and you can get a message to them. Well, I've always been one to try to utilize everything that was available to me as a resource to get something done to be productive. I don't like being busy. Being busy, I mean, you can be busy in a rocking chair, but you don't go anywhere. But I mean being productive. If something's not productive, with me, the man, I eventually cut it off. That's what the master vineyard. That's what the master gardener does. He cuts things off that does not produce fruit in his son Jesus Christ. So what I'm saying is, I cannot sit here and if I do something like to the choir members or whatnot, and I send them messages over email, and I know they got access to technology, they got a cell phone, they got email, computers and stuff, and I send them messages and stuff, they cannot tell me when I get the choir rehearsal today that they didn't get the message. They can't tell me that. I know better. But if they decide not to correspond, in other words, that lets me know they don't want to be bothered with it. So that tells me, all right, what else I got to do? When a person decides that they don't want to be bothered with it, you leave them alone. You leave them alone. Now, if something happens, like I say, sometimes things go wrong with this technology, and sometimes it can't get out of whack. But as soon as they get that rectify that problem, in other words, things are back just like it was in the beginning. They're back to normal, and you'll be able to start sending and receiving. Matter of fact, I know for my YouTube account for months, they messed up. Don't worry about it. Ain't nothing I can do about that. But I can do something about my little technology because, see, on my phone, I can call tech support. Let them know what's going on, and because of the fact that I'm paying good money for these services, they try to get my stuff back like the way it's supposed to be. But see, I don't own YouTube. I can't do nothing about YouTube. I can't do nothing about Facebook. I don't own those things. I have nothing to do with them other than just have an account where I could upload a video if I want to and put a little message if I want to. If I don't want to do that, I don't have to do that either. But at any rate, people, what we are saying is, be very careful about, do not judge people because of this thing or that thing. And be willing to understand, because I'm going to tell you something, the very thing that you criticize me for, if you are not careful, the very thing that you criticize me for and I criticize you for, we'll find ourselves doing even worse. You got to be careful. Because, see, there's nothing that we can do anyway. Jesus told, without me, you can do nothing. But now, once you go and you do all you can do, cut the deck. Don't worry about it. People still got a problem with you. Well, guess what? Just let them have a problem. I know that's the way Milliman does. So at any rate, we're going to get on up and get ready to get on out of here now. Got to get on the choir rehearsal and everything, but we just saying we want everybody to be careful out there. This the weekend. Be very careful because you know the life you say may very well be your own. There's a lot going on in our world right now, and it's going to continue until Jesus comes. So just be on the lookout, be alert, and be a witness. I said be a witness. I didn't say witness. I said be one. Be a witness. This me the man saying whatever you get into it. God not in it, get out of it. Gonna come to nothing. This me the man saying peace. Goodbye.